Hello, everyone. I'm sneaking on a few minutes early. Finished up the other things I was doing, so I didn't want to sit and just dawdle and do nothing. So I figured I would jump on here a few minutes early and see who has their notification set. So now I'll know. I'll know if you have that bell, if you've given the bell kisses, because now I'll know that you're getting notified. But it's still weird to be coming on later in the day. I'm so used to coming on in the morning, but still amazing. Let me know who is in here so I know who I'm talking to. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. This is just a little live stream I like to do to let people check in with their mental health, ask questions, just get insights, good, bad, and crazy. This is another great way to share your stories aside from the comment section and interact with the community a little bit more. So I am not a mental health professional yet. I am just person who likes to share their experiences and the experience of others, be it my life coaching clients or just people that I've talked to, maybe people here in the community that has helped me grow and thrive. So that's the goal, is to help you guys do the same. But if you are needing professional help, make sure that you're reaching out and getting the help that you deserve. So it can get kind of crazy here in the chat. If you're wanting to make sure that I see a message, make sure to use the super chat or super sticker function. All of the donations and pledges go toward my mental health outreach and allow me to do more here in the community. So it really means the world to me. That's what I really thrive on, is being able to do community outreach for mental health and stuff. I love making the videos, but I also love being able to do the outreach. So I am always very excited at the end of the stream to see how much we can do for the next couple of weeks. Hi, Victor. Victor's here for the first time, so welcome. I'm glad you made it. I'm not sure how you stumbled in here, but I'm happy you're here. Thank you, Banner. Noob Destroyers. Hi, Amanda. This is my first time in your live stream. You look beautiful. Thank you. Got a couple of newbies already, so I guess you guys must be subscribed if you just floated on in. You must be you must have your notifications set to on. That really helps the channel too. Hans says, sleep's important for good mental health. Good night from Norway. Take care. I totally understand. You can always watch this later. If you're wanting to pledge or anything, you can do so. The instructions to do so are in the comments. But yes, sleep is very important. I'm happy that I'm finally starting to get mine in some kind of decent order again after some really upsetting things happened over the summer. Some really traumatic things happened, and I fell out of grace, I guess, and was really struggling with insomnia. And in the past week, I'm just now starting to get that back in order. So I totally respect you if you need to get some sleep. Hello, Erin. So I want to start off actually with our good news story for the week. Let's kick the new week off. Let's end this week on a good note so we can start the next one with some positivity. So ROCA, a program in Massachusetts and Baltimore, trains shooters to refrain from shooting by literally changing their minds, which sounds so simple, but I really like this. Not long ago in Baltimore, an angry young man in a neighborhood with many angry young men bumped into 23-year-old Cortez Scott intentionally. He was clearly itching for a fight, and there was a time in the not-too-distant past when Scott would have given in to him, even perhaps taken it to the point of extreme violence. Instead, Scott took a pause to think for a minute. Maybe this guy's having a bad day. He's got personal problems. He considered it. It's not me he's mad at. It was just me standing here in the moment. I can just ignore him. So he did. Scott walked away and lived literally to tell the tale. For that, Scott credits an intense, complex, and ultimately empowering and life-saving program called ROCA that uses CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, to turn young men away from violence. Founded in Boston in the 1980s, ROCA incorporated CBT into its work in 2014 with results that are hard to argue with. Among its Massachusetts participants, 94% of whom had arrest records prior to joining, 84% who stayed with the program for 2 to 4 years had no new arrests, 98% had no new incarcerations. In 2019, ROCA expanded into Baltimore, the first time it moved beyond Massachusetts, and early results show the program is having a similar impact there as well. The idea of ROCA is to interrupt the cycle of violence by helping high-risk young people change the way they react to situations by, in effect, changing the way their brains work. They do this by teaching skills that, as with Scott, help people to slow down, think differently about a situation, and plan a response that is measured and won't lead to further confrontations. It sounds simple enough, but for young people who've lived with violence and trauma for most of their lives, that ability to think calmly often eludes them. This is amazing because this can help not only break the cycle of violence, break the cycle of poverty. It will allow the prison systems to be less overwhelmed. So I think there's a lot of good that will come out of this program. I really hope it expands. I've used DBT and CBT at different points in my life. I've gone through both of those in therapy, and they are immensely helpful. I live with borderline personality disorder, and I can have splitting episodes. I can have very extreme emotions, and having skills like that makes all the difference between dysregulating and hurting yourself or someone else and being able to respond instead of react when you're upset. So that is huge. I think it also said, I didn't see it in this article. Let's see if this is, yeah. Baldwin started Roca in 1988, originally focused on preventing teen pregnancy as a way to keep people from staying in poverty. And that was really effective too. And so they're expanding it now to deal with gun violence, which I think is amazing because restrictions and laws and things like that don't work. You have to get to the root of the problem. It's kind of like, in my mind, kind of like drugs. Making a drug illegal isn't going to make people not want to do the drug. You have to get to the core of why these people are turning to that in the first place and then address that. Oh, hi, David and Tyler and Eugene and Matthew. Victor says, I'm celebrating my 3-year anniversary with my wife. Would have lived till now. Oh, well. Well, I think that it's a beautiful thing that you're still celebrating and hopefully feeling her here with you today. Oh, 33rd, sorry. 33 year. Wow. That is a long time. And I hope that you had a lot of good memories during those times. Share some memories with us. Share some memories during those 33 years. Eugene says it's even harder after growing up in gang culture. And I think that that's what they are talking about is the cultures that are very heavily steeped in violence like that, like the gang cultures and whatnot. Thank you, Banner. My daughter spent my change in the candy shop. Well, thank you. Thank you for still contributing to the community. I need my board here because I forgot to grab that. And I want to make sure that I keep up because we have that goal to hit 250. We didn't hit it last week, so hopefully we can hit it this week so we can do more outreach. I'm just so excited to do some stuff. Now that it's cooling off, it's also a little easier for me to go out and kind of keep my eye open for people in need or even here in the community. I've done a lot here in the community as well, but I love just having that excuse to go out and kind of seek out people in need. It's beautiful. I get to connect with some pretty amazing people. Thank you very much. Hedge Sick Nation says maybe it'll decrease shootings too. That's the goal of it. So the goal is to actually increase or decrease shootings. And so far it seems like it's pretty effective because it's, again, training people to respond instead of react. And a lot of violence like that comes from that place of reaction where you panic and you don't know what to do. It's your default reaction, especially like Eugene said, if you grow up in a culture that normalizes that or a culture where it's kill or be killed, it can allow you to really break down your options, look at your skill set, build your skill set, and if need be, find a way to get out of that situation, out of that environment. Hi, Linksy and John and Wilbur. Phoenix, hello. Oh, Phoenix says, I rarely get to catch these streams. Hope you're doing well. Do you have any advice on how to manage stress from a job you're fulfilled by, but requires a lot of time investment? Actually, I do. And it really comes down to a lot of the times, and I fall into this too, a lot of the times when we are working a job, we're working a job and trying to keep up with our social life at the same time, right? So we're feeling slightly resentful, I think, subconsciously about that job. So while we're doing the job, we're watching YouTube videos and we're checking Instagram and we're playing a game. Maybe we're doing all these different things that lower our productivity, right? And when our productivity is lowered, then we're going to feel more stressed out, more crunched, more anxious because we are spending a lot of time working but not getting a lot done because we're distracting ourselves constantly. And when you distract yourself, say you distract yourself for 11 seconds, it takes about 11 seconds to get back into whatever it was you were doing. So eliminating distractions is huge in making sure that your time management is efficient and making sure that your stress levels are in check. So instead of checking Instagram through the day or checking the Dow through the day or checking whatever it is you check through the day, the news, instead of doing those things, take time during your break or take time after work or something, of course, to unwind. But don't allow yourself to fall into distractions at work because it's going to sap your time and you're not going to realize it. I think that made a huge difference when I realized that, when I realized, okay, I can't stop doing my homework and then sit here and text somebody and then go back to my homework because I've now distracted myself and got out of my flow. So staying in that flow and trying to be mindful and stay present is very helpful. Eugene says, I ran inside crying to my dad and he made me go back outside and fight all three of those kids one-on-one. Okay. Eugene says, my first fist fight, I was 4. 3 kids came into my front yard where I was playing in a new neighborhood saying they were going to beat me up. I ran inside crying to my dad and he made me go outside and fight all 3 of those kids one-on-one. It took me over an hour, but I was more scared of my dad than them. I'm really sorry that you didn't have the support you deserved from your dad. That's not an efficient way to deal with that situation. I hope that you were safe and that you did, obviously you managed to get through that. It sounds like you said it took a while, but you managed to get through that. But no one should fear their family and you should always have someone to go to. And I hope that you have that now. And I'm glad that you were able to manage that situation even at a very young age. Phoenix says, exactly. I teach at a college full-time. It's difficult to not lose myself in that life by not making time for myself apart from work. I'm improving at it. See, that's the important thing is, yes, we have to make time for ourselves outside of work or outside of school or whatever it is we're doing. But if we're constantly living in this world of distraction, and this goes for at home too, if you're constantly living in this world of distraction where you're just scrolling through social media, then you're never actually taking time for yourself. You're never actually healing. Now, that's okay to do sometimes. I subscribe to the NSYNC Facebook page, and probably once a week or so, I'll just go through and start reading the posts because it really makes me happy. It's something that really lifts my energy and boosts my spirit. So there's nothing wrong with doing that sometimes, but if you're constantly turning to that, you're never giving your thoughts the opportunity to process. You're never giving yourself the opportunity to genuinely relax and genuinely lean into the self-care and kind of not clear your mind, because I will be the first to tell you that's not a thing that happens in my head, but at least being able to focus, because if you're bombarding yourself too much with these things, then you're never going to be able to, you can't process that much stimuli. That's the problem, is with social media. Every single thing that you see when you're scrolling, your brain is trying to process, and it's not possible for it to process that much information. So it's going to increase anxiety if you continue to do that all the time. And it's definitely a skill. I've had to work on it too, because I can get stuck into that too. I hope that helped. Phoenix says, I actually never thought of it like that. That distractions are only fulfilling for a moment, and that's why it isn't as fulfilling as genuinely stepping away. Yeah, sometimes just stepping away and taking a breath, taking a walk around the office, around the block or whatever, that's great because it can help you get outside of your head and think. So if you're, I used to do this all the time when I was writing. I'd start writing and then I'd get writer's block. And what would I do? I'd sit and start scrolling on social media or check my phone and message a friend or something, thinking I just need a moment away to recalibrate. But if that's what you're doing, you're not giving yourself that moment to recalibrate. So it's kind of counterintuitive that you're wanting a moment to relax, but it's not actually helping you relax. And there have been studies that have proven that more than 15 minutes on screens, we think that it's relaxing to us, that binging a show or something is relaxing, but after 15 minutes, it actually starts to stress us out. It does not matter if it's something we enjoy or not. We start having low-grade stress that will build and build and build. So if you're on screens for long amounts of time, it actually creates low-grade stress that then exacerbates, that then builds from there. So there have been many studies on it that spending time on screens and things actually stresses us out. And that's obviously not something I need more of in my life. I have enough random stressful things happening to me. Oh gosh, this week. So those of you that were here a few weeks ago, one of the big financial strains that I was having was my college was charging me kind of bogus random charges. They couldn't explain what they were for or anything. And I dealt with it for the most part back in August and just paid what was left thanks to pledges and stuff here. I would not have been able to get this far without the pledges and the support and the help, because back then I was still utilizing these pledges and donations just to get through some of my own struggles. But this last week, so back in August, I asked them, I said, is everything in my account up to date now? Are there going to be any other charges this semester? They said no. They said everything's up to date, everything's accurate, you will not have more charges this semester. Lo and behold, this last week, $590 charge. And they said, oh, well, it's because we put you in as a sophomore when you're really a junior. First and foremost, why is there an additional charge for that? Where is that charge going? What service is that providing? It's not like juniors have more anything. I mean, they have more credit hours, but the teachers that teach the sophomore classes are still teaching the junior classes. It's not like they get paid more. Those teachers for juniors get paid more or something. So there's no real reason for this. And I spent hours trying to fight it. And this is actually one of my wins for the week is I ended up reaching out to the local news because this is the third time in one semester ASU has tried to screw me on my tuition charges and has tried to apply charges that aren't valid. So I reported it to the news and hopefully can get some coverage that way. I was not proud of myself on some of the things that came out of my mouth when I was on the phone, but the fact that I did calm down and rationally thought about how can I handle this and came up with a plan, I was very proud of that. But that's been my struggle for the week is I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have no idea how I'm going to deal with this. I cannot pay $590. And when I was talking to them on the phone, they said, well, there's a small fee. I said, I don't know how much you get paid, but $590 is not a small fee in my world, especially when I have a bunch of other things that are stacking up, like the whole IRS situation. I have all these situations. $590 is astronomical to me right now. So I can, yeah, I've definitely been through some of those stresses and struggles as well this week. Phoenix says, even if they don't pick it up as a story or investigation, you did your part and definitely be proud. I don't think I'd have the energy to. I just started getting energy back this week, so I'm very happy for that. And I knew that I had to take action, and I knew that I had to stand up for myself. I'm actually reporting a professor that acknowledged I had an assignment that I turned in. She failed me on the assignment, and I said, wait a second, I did this assignment, and if I didn't do it to the rubric, please let me know so I can learn from my mistake, right? And her comments on the assignment and what she was telling me through messaging weren't lining up. So I screen capped the assignment and pointed out, here's where I did each of the things that were in the rubric, each of the things that were asked of me. Can you please point out what I did wrong? And she said, oh no, all that looks perfect. Okay, so why did you fail me? Oh, well, you uploaded a blank assignment, but you said in your comments that I just didn't give all, because I was supposed to list 5 things, I believe, and she said I only listed 2 or 3. Now she's saying that it was a complete blank assignment. It didn't change my grade. I still got an A, but just on principle, I'm reporting her to the dean because she not only failed me, then admitted that she was wrong and refused to fix it, but then lowered my grade further when I fought her. I said, oh no. So I have a meeting with a dean this week to report that, because it's not fair. I did the assignment and I earned the credit and I deserve it. Even if it's not going to change my grade, I still deserve to earn credit for the assignment that I did. And I'm afraid that she's doing this to other people. So I wanted to report and make sure that she's not doing this for other people. But don't let people walk all over you. Don't let people take advantage of you. Stand up for yourself. Do what you can do what you have to do, but stand up for yourself. And that's something that I am learning more and more since July, where I've really been, I need to stand up for myself. And it's really been paying off so far in some pretty big ways. Just saying, hey, I don't like the way you treated me in this situation. I don't like the way you handled this. It wasn't fair. And I deserve to be treated fairly. So that's kind of been a self-improvement thing I've been working on in the past few months. Cornelia says, narcissistic snake professor is a snake in the grass. Tim says that teacher sounds like a real piece of work. I don't know what, honestly, she was trying to accomplish or what her problem was, but it was really frustrating because I'm a 4.0 student. I don't just not turn in assignments or turn in blank assignments. As a matter of fact, I will give my win and then we'll do official wins and we'll start it on that process. But the thing that I was really super excited and proud of this week was my professor, my forensics professor. She's an amazing professor. I love her. She reached out to me via message, and this is a lecture class of over 100 students. And she reached out to me via message and said, I know that there's this upcoming assignment where we're supposed to analyze forensics on some case and watch all these videos and do all this assigned reading. And she said, but I see that you're really knowledgeable on the JonBenet Ramsey case. So if you want to write your paper on that and not do the reading and videos, feel free. And the fact that not only did my knowledge stand out to her enough that she private messaged me out of 100 students, just randomly messaged me, I felt so good about that because I felt seen. I felt, oh, she's been listening to me and she remembers me and she acknowledged my knowledge. And the paper was a minimum 2 pages. Mine was 6. So clearly I'm not just the I don't do my assignments type student. I will do extra credit in a class I have an A in just to try and keep my A+, to keep my 4.0 and everything. So I will do extra credit that I don't even need and do reading and videos that I don't even need because I genuinely want to learn and I want to be there and I take my grades seriously. So I was just really offended that this teacher would suggest that I wouldn't do an assignment. It was very upsetting. Oh, do we have another new person here? David said, welcome, Matt, but now I don't see Matt. Oh, there we go. Newer member. I live in Clearwater, Florida, but graduated from Arizona State with a BS in finance. What's your major? Forensic psychology. And welcome to the channel. Welcome to the community. David says, okay, let's see. Oh, dog. I have severe sciatic nerve pain right now. And then David was responding to that. Dog Gaming, you have my sympathy. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, has started to flare up and I'm having pain in my lower back and hips. No fun. Yeah, chronic pain is nothing to mess with. My dad was terminal and was in chronic pain. And it was very hard to watch him go through that. And I know that far before it was legal, my dad was using marijuana to cope with his pain, and that helped him because it came to a point where his pain medications weren't effective anymore. He built up pretty much an immunity to his pain medications. So he started smoking marijuana in the end to deal with his pain. And I fully supported that. And even his doctor kind of turned a blind cheek because he was 65 years old and his pain medication wasn't working. He was clearly in a lot of pain all the time. So I hope you find something that can at least take the edge off and help you get through this time, or find a doctor that can help treat that. Okay, so yes, apparently Tim is waiting for me to sing. So I will get to that. We'll do our wins. Keep this here if we're getting more pledges or anything so I can keep track of that. But without further ado, snap cup time, gather you round. Friends and foes together, united and bound. Pass it to your neighbor instead of blowing up, and you'll find harmony and love in a snap cup. Thank you, Aaron. And David says, and didn't he watch SpongeBob too? Yes, my dad did watch SpongeBob too, which funny thing about SpongeBob is I watched it with him some during that time, and that was back when I still also smoked marijuana. And I haven't since 2007. And the weird thing about SpongeBob is you can be stoned as could be, high as a kite, stone cold sober, drunk off your butt. It does not matter. It's exactly the same. And it creeps me out. It's so weird. Okay, let's see. David Gaps says, I got stuck in a difficult, frustrating, and infuriating situation. While I was disappointed how the situation worked out, I'm proud I kept my composure and didn't let it affect me. It seems like we're all being challenged and we're making progress this week in that. So I'm very proud of you, David. Big snaps to you. Oh, Aaron, you're gonna have to come up here and sing. I think if we get, let's see, if we get $100 in pledges, I bet I can talk Aaron into coming in here and singing. So let's see what we can do. Oh, Og Dog Gaming says, I'm being interviewed for a job tomorrow. Snaps for you, Og Dog. CP368 Productions says, I have listened to a couple songs that used to trigger anxiety attacks and they didn't. So big snaps to you for working through that trigger and coming to a point where it no longer bothers you. That's huge. I'm proud of you. If we get a $590 donation, I'll sing. Yeah, that would be great. Actually, in all seriousness, if you're going to make a larger pledge or donation here, whether for me and the college situation or for the outreach, please do so via PayPal. The PayPal link or Venmo link is in the description of the videos, because otherwise YouTube takes a pretty hefty percentage off. So on bigger donations, please make sure you're doing that. And actually, I will open my email just in case any come through during this, so I can add them to the tracker. But please make sure that you specify whether you want it to go to the community or whether you are doing that to try and help the college situation. I am not going to be offended either way. I appreciate it all because it really helps me with my mental health, to be able to help others with their mental health. So I still love to do the outreach. Just Facts 42 says, after a rough couple of weeks and not fulfilling the urge to purge, I swear, I was rewarded with a reminder of old times and had a fun night out. Big snaps. I imagine it was amazing, and I completely understand having that urge to purge. That's why I not watch 9 Saw movies in quick succession, because I have been having that urge very strongly lately. I've really been challenged with my patience for other people. So big snaps for not purging. Oh, Steve says, Amanda from Peoria, Arizona. Hope you're doing well, everybody. We're practically neighbors. Hello. Matthew Azaria says, I've got a surprise to share for everyone at the upcoming live stream. Okay, are you still in here, Matthew? So I can share this. Try and tag me or something if you can, so I can see that, so I don't miss it. And then I will try to read and give you snaps for that. Tracy Sloan, my bestie, says, I'm in training to be a travel agent and have gotten 100% on both my evaluations so far. I'm so proud of you, baby. I love you. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad that you found something that seems to be going well for you and that you are amazing at, because you're amazing at everything. I love you. Eugene says, I'm from Peoria, Illinois. I didn't know there was a Peoria, Illinois, but that's kind of funny. Maybe they're sister cities. By the way, hey, Aaron, if we get a $500 donation, I'll sing. We get a $590 donation, I'll sing anything you want me to. I will sing. I like big butts. It's fine. Edward says, a dear member of our pack lives in Israel. Big win to find him and his family are safe and doing well now. Please join me in sending him thoughts, prayers, good vibes, etc. Yes, I'm very happy for that. When I reached out to him, the second I heard about Israel, I thought of him and sent an email and reached out. And I was also extremely relieved to learn that he was okay. I get very attached to you guys here. I worry when I don't hear from you. I worry when people disappear from the community or from the Patreon, from the pack. I really worry about you guys. So please, I understand if you ever just don't want to hang out in the community more, if it's just not your thing, or if you come to a point where you don't feel like you need it or you want to be here anymore, that's fine. But please just tell us that, because otherwise I'm laying awake at 2 a.m. going, what happened to this person? And we worry. So yes, but let's send him and his family whatever your equivalent to thoughts, prayers, energy, vibes, whatever the case is, just keep them in your thoughts. Oh, there's Matthew. Matthew says, I'll be covering my favorite artist, Hank Snow, on a YouTube video ASAP. Okay, so everybody go check out Matthew Azaria's YouTube channel, and big snaps to you for taking that step and for covering Hank. I say Hank, I think Breaking Bad, or Hank Williams Jr. So now I'm going to have to check out Hank Snow. Jake Smith is getting back into my usual routine of taking care of myself. I got out of a bit because of my vacation a while back. Also got to watch scary movies with Kim. Big snaps for the bonding time with Kim. Big snaps for moving back into that routine. It can be hard because you kind of lose your momentum. So it can be very hard. I'm proud of you for getting back into that. Like I said, we binged 9 Saw movies in fairly quick succession over what, Aaron, like the last 2 months, I think. We binged through those, went and saw X. It was excellent. I did not expect myself to come really, really close to crying in a Saw movie, but lo and behold, I came very close to crying in a Saw movie. It was very good. Whether you're into those types of movies or not, this one was really good. Just Gooby? What? Is there someone in here called Just Gooby? Oh, Just Goopy is a negative YouTuber who's ruined a lot of people's mental health. Okay. No, I have not heard of Just Goopy. I don't know anything about this person, this YouTuber. So if you tell me a little bit more, I would be happy to share the word, but let's make sure that we keep everything factual and not opinionated when it comes to other people. If they're genuinely spreading negative messages, I want to warn people of that, but obviously I would be doing a little bit more digging before having an opinion of my own on that. My chair is really squeaky. It's driving me kind of crazy. Oh, Phoenix is my main victory recently is I just finished paying off my first car loan. Yes, so I fully own it now. First car was cheap from grandma. This was a 5-year loan. I bet that feels so good. I just want to honestly be out from under all of my debt, have my medical stuff dealt with, and my IBS, or not the IRS stuff dealt with, and all these other things dealt with, just all this. I just want it all gone. I want all of it gone. Like I'm done. I'm so done. I'm so done with the IRS being down my throat. I'm done with the heart issues. I'm done. I'm done with the college charging me crap over and over and over. But it's too much. It's way too much. So who's Sam Kinison? I don't know who Sam Kinison is. David, Sam Kinnison's hometown's in East Peoria, which is directly across the road. I don't know who that is. Oh, wow. Steve says Mudvayne's actually from Peoria, Illinois. Weird. I did not know that. That's very random that they would be from Illinois. Oh, famous comedian. Okay. Just Gibby is a Roblox YouTuber. He's involved in a lot of bad controversy. Well, there's a lot of YouTubers that are involved in a lot of controversy, and I try not to get involved in stuff like that. Honestly, I don't watch a whole lot of random content. I have a couple of channels that I really love, and I don't have any reason to believe that any of the channels that I follow are what's the word I'm looking for? Are not even malicious. They all seem to be pretty good people, and I'll just stick with those channels. Yeah. Damn, so sorry, my samurai abilities. Oh, Matthew says, before he managed Elvis Presley, Colonel Tom Parker managed Hank Snow, and Hank Snow was Canadian, so he became a country artist in the 1950s. Is anyone's guess? Okay. Wow, I'm so young. Thanks, I think. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I'm just not up to. Well, that's not even fair because there's a lot of things from the 70s or 80s and 90s. God, I'm just all sorts of stuff is just blah. From the 80s and 90s that I should be familiar with, but I'm not. So, in fairness, I don't keep up with a lot of pop culture stuff, be it from my era when I was younger or now. There's still so many things that Aaron and David just want to flay me for because I haven't seen them or heard them or whatever. Okay. Uh-oh. Did the chat just freeze? I hope the chat didn't just freeze. Oh, there we go. Eugene says, I still remember where we were when news broke about Sam's death. I remember where I was when Paul Walker passed away, when Roddy Piper passed away, when Macho Man passed away, and of course when Chester passed away. So there's several celebrities that hit me hard enough that I just remember stopping everything I was doing. In Chester's case, that one hit me really hard. But even with Roddy Piper and Macho Man, I grew up with these guys. I loved wrestling in the 90s, obviously. And I just remember sitting down and being in shock. And there were definitely some tears. It was very heartbreaking that my heroes are dying off, you know? Phoenix says, it hit me like a brick when Bray Wyatt passed lately. One of a kind wrestling personality and creative mind. That's not ringing a bell. Maybe that's the real name of someone I knew, and please don't give me bad news right now. Oh, Ogdom says, I'm still mad about Saw 6. The trap with the jar that they had to fill up. Why didn't they just pee in the jar? Oh my gosh, I actually thought that too. There's so many things like that. Why? And that was the one where they had to put their arms in the containers and it sawed up their arm, right? Am I thinking of the right one? Where one of the members in it was the actress that plays Rita from Dexter, or she's also on Buffy. My gosh, like Julie, why can't I think of her name right now? Oh my gosh. Anyway, is that the one you were talking about? Yes, that one drove me nuts because not only could they have put something else in there, but think about it. When the blood is spraying everywhere like that, it's not all going to fall into the beaker. So you're actually losing more blood because it says, okay, the body can survive with only so much blood loss, and it's supposed to be right at that cusp, but there's blood flying everywhere else. There were I could vent all day on some of the things about those traps and stuff that drove me nuts. Yeah, David says, I'm still crushed with Betty White and Angela Lansbury. Yeah, Angela Lansbury hit us both pretty hard because David and I like watching Murder, She Wrote together, old episodes of Murder, She Wrote. Betty White, I thought that woman was immortal. She was just amazing. She was an amazingly positive, spunky woman, and I hope that I can be like that in my elder years. But man, Golden Girls was already on reruns when I was a kid, and she was already a senior, so it was just crazy to see how long that woman held on. Yeah, she was so close. They were both really close. We're halfway through. We only have $7 of our $250 goal. Come on, guys. We got to do more than that to get the community out there, to get community off the ground. See how many people we can help this week. I'm very excited to do that. Actually, there's a couple people at my school that I know need help. One of them, she is in an abusive relationship, and I've been slowly trying to ease her out of it, but she is 17 years old. She'll turn 18 here soon, and is really struggling to figure out how can I survive without him, because as abusers usually do, he's manipulated her finances and stuff. So, I just got I just got a $25 pledge from David, who says that I need to do the Manda dance. Okay, you guys are gonna laugh. You guys are gonna. This is the Manda dance. This is the dance I do when I'm happy, whenever happy things happen. That's the Manda dance. So thank you, David. So we're at 32. Man dance. Oh yes, it's the man dance. That's amazing. Why did I never think to connect that like that? Oh, jokes. I seriously, legit believe the Queen of England was immortal. Like she was being replaced like Shamu, right? I was actually really sad when she passed as well because she was an amazing role model. And I don't know, I can't say I know everything about her, but everything I heard was amazing, and she was an amazing role model. Thank you again, David. I guess I pleased him with the man dance. That's a happy dance if I ever saw one. Well, I mean, you guys can go back and watch me react to NSYNC if you need to see me geek out a little bit more, if you need to see me happy. But yeah. That's a happy dance if I ever saw one. I try. I'm telling you. You can make me do some pretty crazy things to clear up all this IRS college medical stuff. She might know him as IRS's son, Erwin R. Shyster, old wrestling family. I am not familiar. I was into wrestling in the early to mid 90s. And then I dabbled a little bit in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, but it just wasn't as exciting at that point. So Dick Clark was the closest to being immortal. Eugene says, OMG, that NSYNC reaction. I cannot tell you how much hearing that meant to me, how much that lifted my spirits. I needed that. I genuinely needed that. And I've probably listened to it several hundred times since then. It's just been something that I listen to pretty much every single day. I will never stop loving NSYNC. And I had a couple of people say, well, I'm not going to listen to that. And I'm, come on, guys. I listen to stuff. I'm open-minded and listen to stuff that might not really be in my wheelhouse, but I still give it a chance. So please give it a chance for me. And if you want to hear my favorite song of all time, my favorite song, and my favorite NSYNC song, obviously, since it's my favorite song, is For the Girl Who Has Everything. That's my favorite song. So if you want to know a little bit more about Amanda, go give For the Girl Who Has Everything by NSYNC a chance. It was never a super popular song. Doug says, I've been trying to get back out there with the dating scene, although internet dating is, I think bizarre is the kindest word for it. That's a whole lot kinder than I would have been. It is something special. Yeah. Oh, did he? Oh, David's right. Eugene did not spell NSYNC correctly. There is a asterisk or a star there. And the S is also capitalized. Yeah, Eugene, I think that you are going to have to repent now. You guys need to learn. Aaron says, I think by bizarre you mean completely awful. Yeah. We need to make our video. We're actually going to make a video about online dating because it can have such a negative impact on mental health because people don't realize that pretty much everyone that's in that scene is struggling, especially men. It's very difficult. Doug says, when you get some free time, you should listen to some songs by the Merkins. Just don't react to them. They probably aren't appropriate for your channel. That sounds really familiar. The Merkins. Why does that sound familiar to me? Are they the ones that do the Slash Street Boys thing? Is that the Merkins? Eugene says, I grew up in New Kids. What do you want from me? Hey, well, Donnie Wahlberg is in Saw. Yes. Oh, dog. I have seen the Merkins. Yes. That's great. I'll kill you that way. I mean, it's like the perfect thing for Amanda. How did you think that I haven't seen that? It's absolutely perfect. It's boy bands meet stabby stab. It's great. I think it was made just for me. Have they made anything new? I haven't browsed over on their channel here recently, so I don't know if they've done anything new. I remember the what was it? Cut me a liver or fry me a liver. Fry me a liver to the tune of Justin Timberlake. It was Hannibal Lecter. I actually watched Hannibal for the first time during COVID. Oh, if you guys could do me a really huge favor, if you haven't already, if you're on Instagram, please go subscribe or follow. What's the term? What are the kids saying? Please go follow me. I am very close to 1,000, so that's my first little benchmark, having to come back from losing my account of over 11,000. So if you aren't already following me, yes, following me, please go do so. I really appreciate it. Dennis, it's my second time to your live stream. Be gentle. Well, since it's your second time, I guess I could still use some lube. David says, if I do online dating, I'll use a profile pic of Dick Van Dyke. My online dating dick pic. I'm hilarious. Fun story. So I was on a dating app for a few days and I just couldn't do it. I could not do it. 3 days, I think. And I just said, oh my God, I have never seen so many penises in my life. And I got to the point after the first few that I saved one of them. So then whenever somebody sent me an unsolicited dick pic, and believe me, I didn't solicit ever. I've never really solicited for dick pics. I would say if they'd send me one, I'd send this pic back to them and say mine's better. And it got them to go away real fast. Is Dick Van Dyke still alive? Yeah, he is still alive because he was at Comic-Con here a few years ago. My friend dressed up as Mary Poppins and met him. He's up there too. Actually, he has a summer house, last I heard, up in Sholo, which I lived in that town. It's a mountain town here in Arizona. I lived there for 4 years when I was 16. And he has a house up there. George Takei has a house up there. There's a couple country singers that I'm not familiar with, but they have houses up there. It's a very quiet little area. It's not super great when you're a teenager, but if you're older, it's a very nice area. He's 97. Okay. So does anybody have any questions or anything that you think we should talk about before I just start complaining about saw traps and my college professor some more? Or you could just start talking about the JonBenet Ramsey case. I actually heard that her dad is petitioning for them to test the DNA with new technology. And based on the extensive knowledge that I have on this case, so I wrote that 6-page paper, and the only time I had to look anything up was because we have to cite references. So I had to look up the information for the 2 books I have, and I had to look up a few newspaper articles to reference for it. But I wrote that entire thing from memory, so I know the case pretty well. I honestly think that it was the mom. I don't necessarily think that it was intentional. I think that it was an escalated situation, that she didn't mean to kill her, but did. And I almost think, because the mom died, and I almost think that the dad is secretly kind of wanting things to come out so he can clear his own conscience. The brother's creepy. I'm kind of thinking that maybe when the dad dies, the brother will come out and talk about it. I don't know. But yes, the girl in Saw was named Amanda Young. I curled my hair today, Eugene. That's why it looks different. It's just not straight today. Phoenix says, I think you've reacted to a few songs from Sia, right? Have you listened to her outside of those reactions? Very raw emotions, hard to take in sometimes, but so genuine. I saw one interview once, but I haven't really dived into her. Thank you, Eugene. Tim says, how do I not turn hateful? I can't be hurt again. I have another in me, and I don't want to, but I'm afraid that's how I need to be for a while. I understand what it's like to need to take a break and to need to focus on yourself, and that's completely fine. And it's actually very healthy to have that revelation and to realize that you just need to disengage from people for a while. Like for me, when I was by myself, when I got divorced and everything, I had to take some time for myself to live on my own, to say, okay, or when him and I had broken up before and we were apart for a year and a half, I think, and then we ended up getting back together and getting married. But we were broken up and I lived by myself and I needed time for me. I needed time to figure things out. I needed time to sort my thoughts. That's perfectly okay. And it's also okay to set boundaries. It's okay to know what you will and won't accept. Actually, I encourage it to know what you will and won't accept and not have any tolerance for people being deceitful or hateful or any of those things. But that doesn't mean that we have to be hateful to those people. You can set boundaries in a firm but kind way. You don't have to be hateful to set boundaries, and you don't have to be hateful to take time for yourself. Now, if people don't respect your boundaries, then shutting them off, shutting them down is perfectly reasonable. But you don't have to be hateful in order to just step back and focus on yourself. You don't have to be cruel to people to be kind to yourself. Steve says, personally not a fan of Saw franchise or horror movies in general. Fun story. Aaron completely hated the Saw franchise and did not even want me mentioning it at all for very understandable personal reasons. And eventually, what was it, babe? You'd wanted me to watch, I think, Stranger Things was for Handmaid's Tale. I don't remember what it was. I think it was a couple episodes of Game of Thrones because I didn't want to watch Game of Thrones. So he finally said, if you'll watch a couple episodes of Game of Thrones, I'll watch the first Saw. And he kind of got invested in the storyline. And I will say, up until a couple of months ago, I'd seen the first two. And I'd seen pieces of the rest of them. I knew the story. I knew John's background. I knew his story, Jigsaw's background, but I just couldn't deal with the gore. Well, things shifted back in July, and I had some kind of traumatic things happen that I was trying to get through. And this happened to be what I turned to. And suddenly the gore just didn't bother me because I was so angry at the world and upset and frustrated and needing to channel that and needing to deal with that's just happened to be how it came out. That happened to be what I utilized to cope with very intense emotions. So this very intense imagery was helping me deal with very intense emotions. So I actually refused to watch the Saw movies up and after number 2 up until a couple months ago. So I completely understand. David says, the only horror movies I like have a mystery to them. I don't like hack and slash films. See, that's what Aaron thought that Saw is like. But it actually, they have amazing twists. I love the twists at the end of the Saw movies. There's only a couple, by the way, I don't consider Spiral part of the franchise. I didn't watch that one. I watched the kill count for it. But they have amazing twists. They have amazing character development, an amazing story. It's not just everybody let's chop each other up. It has, for the most part, purpose. There are some traps that I'm just, why was that included? That didn't have anything to do with the overall story arc. But for the most part, I think that the story is really amazing. And John's character is frighteningly relatable. Aaron says, you have no idea. The story is much better than any horror movie should have. It really is. They could have just made, well, Saw was originally a pretty low budget indie film that has now made billions of dollars. It's kind of crazy because it was kind of an experiment of sorts, and it brought a lot to the horror genre. So, okay, I will compromise. If you don't want to watch the franchise, that's fine. But if you go over to Dead Meat's channel, he actually edits out all the gore on his kill counts. So if you watch the kill counts, you can get the storyline and see the twists and stuff. And it won't be as much fun because you won't be as invested when the twists come about. But at least watch a few of those because I'm seriously in love with the franchise. It's what I'm into right now. So raise your hand if you're like this. Raise your hand if you do this, because I found out that it's actually an anxiety thing where you will get into something and you can't just be slightly into it. You will become freaking obsessed with it. And that's all you talk about for months on end. I have that. Number one, I have that if something traumatizes me. So if I have a traumatic situation, or even if I watch a movie that really bothers me, I have to talk about it for a long time. That's how I cope. But it's also if I'm really into something, or if something's helping me cope, or I'm really excited about something, I talk about it a lot. Like when I watched Breaking Bad 2 years ago, I'm still talking about it because I just got really into it. So yeah, Dog says he's like that. James says, do you get handouts for each dead meat mention? No, somebody should tell James that I deserve kickbacks on that. Eugene says Saw and Saw 2 were great. Number 3 lost me. See, that's where I was originally. As I watched the first 2 and 3, I went, ugh. And then you have to deal with slow-ass Muppet Chef, and it's just very frustrating to watch. But I still think the twist was good, and I think that the overall storyline, it didn't take too much away from the storyline. Tim says, I can't watch horror movies anymore, medical shows, as the gore triggers me badly and cues instant flashbacks. That's understandable. And I'm not saying that, here's the thing, is I know my boundaries. I know that there's certain things I can't watch. I will never watch the Paranormal Activity movies. I don't like things like that. And every now and then I'll come across something like Smile that just traumatizes the ever-living hell out of me, and I didn't mean for it to. It wasn't what I expected it to be. But for the most part, I'm really conscientious about what I can and can't watch, and I know my own boundaries. So I love the horror genre, but I'm very specific. I like movies that have good twists. I like movies that have good plots. It can't just be everybody gets stabbed except Velcro. That one was pretty awesome. But for the most part, it has to have something deeper. That's actually Velcro Experience, actually, where I found dead meat. Don't watch it, Dog. Don't watch it. It's really, let me put it this way. Smile, and I won't give any spoilers, but Smile was like a 2-hour, I don't know exactly how long it was, but it was like a 2-hour anxiety attack. There's no relief. Like usually in movies, there's relief between the jump scares or relief between the pivotal scenes. There's not in that movie. It's just constant anxiety for the whole entire movie. And it was way too intense for me. I did not have an enjoyable experience with that movie at all. Matthew says, I'm obsessed with the number of things. Me too. So we are 10 minutes from the end. We're at 37. So let's see if we can get a little more. Come on, guys. Let's get a little more support for the community so I can do more outreach. I'm going to try and get at least a video during the next outreach. That'll be amazing. I love shows like ER, Grey's Anatomy, etc. Oh yeah, you're saying that you can't watch that stuff anymore. I never watched ER. I never watched Grey's Anatomy. I watched Nip Tuck. I really like Nip Tuck. I think that's really the only medical show. House. I really liked House, but that's just because House is my spirit animal. Gregory House is my freaking spirit animal. I miss House. I'm surprised that they haven't rebooted House. Eugene says, I can't do medical shows. They're so hard because they're so inaccurate. My mom had a problem with that too, because my mom was a nurse and it just really bothered her. This says, the only movies I can't do are movies involving either prison or PTSD because I have PTSD from prison. I spent 9 months in the hole and it messed me up. Well, don't watch Smile because Smile does deal with PTSD. So probably don't watch that movie. I hope that I can save you from that trigger because nobody saved me from mine. Actually, it's kind of weird because I have a love-hate relationship with the movie. It was a good movie. It was really good. It was just scarier than I could handle. It was way too intense for me. Matthew says, a friend showed me a movie that was meant to be a good deconstruction of the Bonnie and Clyde concept. It had a graphic rape scene that scarred me as a survivor. It took me a while with Handmaid's Tale because of the hanging and the rape scenes. And strangely, the rape scenes, at least the initial ones, weren't as bad. There were a few that really upset me, that really triggered me as also a survivor. But I think the positive thing was I knew going in that was there. That's kind of sad that your friend didn't warn you. You're saying, yeah, that your friend didn't warn you about that. Dennis said, from somebody who confronts their trauma, maybe look at it. Oh, that's what I was going to say was the reason that horror movies really resonate with some people who have anxiety, who have symptoms of depression, who have these challenges, is because it allows us to almost trigger our fear in a controlled environment where we're actually safe, and then work our way through that. So it builds our ability to do that outside of the movie. So it builds our ability to be able to do that at other times. So it really has a positive impact on me as long as I'm careful about what I watch. They really have a positive impact on me. So it kind of gives you that little thrill, and it helps you build, and they've done studies on this, it helps you build your resilience over time. And not in a sense of it doesn't desensitize you, or at least it doesn't desensitize me. I would still be horrifying to see these things, but it just allows you to build your skill set and to build your ability to cope with fear and stress and anxiety. David says, I think Hollywood graphically shows too much. You can leave it to the imagination with good writing. We were just saying that in the Patreon stream yesterday, that I wish that Saw would have been more like Seven. And the implications in that movie are horrific, absolutely horrific. But it doesn't show all of this grotesque visual effects. And yeah, I appreciate like that the first two Saws were like that they didn't need to be over the top gory. It was the implication of the things happening that was so effective. And I think the gore actually takes away from the effectiveness of that. I think it's kind of, you're right, lazy writing when they feel like they need to get that gory. Because you could have all these traps and just not have them be as graphic, and it would still be just as effective. Yeah, Dog says that's true. Sometimes leaving it to the imagination is so much creepier. It really is. So I might stay on here a few minutes longer. I'm not sure. I do have some things I have to go do. Oh gosh, I have to do all my forensics notes. I have to go do my notes after this. Hello, Jason. I have a kitty I need to go visit. She's very cute. Her name is Gaia, and she's just this little gray kitten. She's very playful. I like her. I'm not really as big on cats as I am dogs, but this one's a really sweet one. Oh, Tim says trying to send 20. I don't know why it's declining. You can try PayPal if that's easier. I don't know why it's declining either, but thank you. Audrix says the only movies I can't do are movies involving. Oh, I think I already read that. I did. I'm sorry. I already read that. David says I used to love horror video games in my 20s and 30s, like Dead Space and Resident Evil. Now they just trigger my anxiety. I miss those games, though. I never really played games like that, so I don't have an opinion. David says some of the best horror movies and games have the creature just out of view. You don't see it or the gore yet, but hear it and it creeps on you. Yeah, absolutely. We were trying to watch, I'm not going to say anything because I don't like being give spoilers. We were trying to watch a movie and we couldn't get it to come up earlier, and I'm kind of sad because I was pretty set on watching it, but Aaron says, and then there's Ridley. Oh my god, don't even bring up Ridley. Oh, I hear it in my head now. No, I'm never gonna sleep again. Why would you do that to me? Why? Jason says my cat helps me with my I'm assuming with my anxiety, with my mental health. My doggy really helps with mine as well. Helps me with my anxiety. I'm not sure. David says my cat is my therapist. You know, Wendy hasn't quite become my therapist yet because I haven't had her for long. So Wendy is, for those of you that don't know, I inherited Wendy in May when a friend of mine who I'd met when he was homeless, he's a veteran, Scotty, passed away. I'd always told him that I would take his dog. So I now have a Wendy. But my other dogs, Paris and Mirage, who tragically passed away, and Cairo, they definitely were my therapy. Cairo was actually a registered therapy dog, but they definitely helped me a lot. They were there through everything, you know, they were there through all those different tragedies, traumas, and things in my life. Oh my God, is that? Yeah, it is. My chair is very noisy. I'm sorry. I need to get some WD-40. David says, is Ridley worse than the Ringer? Ridley's not scary. Ridley's a boss on Metroid or Super Metroid that just makes this god-awful loud screeching sound the whole entire time you're battling it. So you really want to kill it because it's just making this god-awful obnoxious sound that I can literally hear in my head right now. I would have to mute it, or if I was wearing headphones when I was playing on emulators, when I went back to play Fusion and whatnot, I had to take my headphones off. I just couldn't listen to them. Oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. Why would you do this to me? So, yeah. As far as fear, no, Ridley doesn't scare me. Samara, the ring girl, is definitely in my top. She is definitely up there. The smile therapist doesn't help either. That's a good tie right there. Smile therapist and Samara from the ring. Yeah, it's my chair. Is that what you're hearing, Og Dog? I'm sorry. I'll put WD-40 on it. It's kind of driving me nuts too, actually. I'm sorry. Well, we are winding down. So if there's any last questions or any last wins or any last pledges you guys want to get in, we're going to wind down here. Man, my head's starting to feel weird. Must be thinking about all those Ridley sounds. Seriously, though, my head's feeling really weird. I need some essential oil after this. But yeah, I will keep you guys updated as far as the news situation, the college situation, the teacher situation. I will keep all of you guys updated. Happy early birthday, Eugene. Oh, good. I thought it was in the hallway. We're talking about scary stuff, and you thought my chair was the monster squeaking in the hallway. Hi, Tim. Bye, Og Dog. You stay safe and strong. Safe and strong and happy as well. I feel like that was like cruel on Mean Girls, where she was trying to say great and cool at the same time. It came out cruel. I was trying to say safe and strong, and it came out stafe. Half a century. I love it. That means you're vintage. Yes, Tim, I do want to play a game. I feel like I'd be the blonde that Billy would. Do you want to play a game? Yeah, do we get to play checkers? Do we get to play chess? Are we gonna play Zelda? I totally want to play a game. Hey, Damien. Better late than never, I suppose. I know the time zones can be weird, so I apologize for that. Shucks. Oh, we got 37. I think that can help someone. I will have to be creative, but I think we can find something to do. It's just so fulfilling, that we've been able to provide medication for people or help veterans, help the elderly, help students, help people in abuse situations. It's really fulfilling. It's really an amazing thing to be a part of. And I'm excited to see it continue to grow. And I'm excited to see what more we can do. And I think we'll have some bigger announcements in 2024. So there's some kind of crazy things going on that prevented some of the bigger projects, but I think they're getting worked out now. Yes, Damien, I did change it. We did a poll over in the community because a lot of people weren't able to make the Friday one because of work. So yeah, I changed it to Sunday. Eventually, my goal is to have the one on Friday and the one on Sunday, but I need to work out some of these situations before I can commit to that. I just need to work out some of the health and financial situations before I can commit to doing the streams every single week. But eventually, I'll probably do one on Friday and one on Sunday so more people can make it. And hopefully that doesn't confuse the crap out of everyone. You guys have a great day/evening as well. Oh, Tim's love it being on Sundays, as I can see it more. Yeah, most people voted for today. So that's why I changed it to today, was just try and make sure as many people as possible could be here. I'm going to go get some kitty cuddles and some windy cuddles and eat because I'm now hungry. I wasn't hungry before this, but now I'm hungry. And Aaron made me some food. So yes, Eugene, it's dinner time for Eugene as well. So we'll practically be eating dinner together. Just think of that. I'm there with you. It's kind of like a birthday dinner. So I will see you guys. Oh, Jason says, I appreciate you doing these favorite horror movie. Okay, I will do that real fast. Like I said, right now I've been on the Saw wagon. Saw 10 was really amazing. I really liked it. Classic. I really like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer because I thought it had a really good twist. I didn't see it coming. It was very classic slasher, so I really liked that one. Where's my cake? I want cake. So off the top of my head, those are my two favorites. Yeah, those would be my two favorites for now. The Ring scared the crap out of me. I tried to watch Rings the other day, and it was literally one of the worst things I've ever seen. I thought I'd be really scared, and I thought, okay, I actually did it saying, okay, I'm going to face my fear, but it was so awful. The script was awful. The acting was awful. The character development was awful. There's just nothing redeeming about that movie, and it didn't scare somebody that already had a predisposition to be freaked out by it. I mean, the opening scene is Samara on a plane that's crashing. Yet that was pretty much a sealed deal to scare the ever-living crap out of Amanda, and you failed. How is that possible? But yes. Yes, I'm going to just keep going and going and going if I don't get off here. So thank you guys very much. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Mwah!